Hi everybody, today I'm going to show you how I would do base makeup for a more mature skin. I always get ladies asking me how to do foundation, how to get it to not look too heavy, and they worry that it's going to make the wrinkles look worse. So I'm going to show you the skin preparation I do and the sort of makeup brands that I use that's going to look really nice on a mature skin, that's going to make your skin look more youthful and have a lot more radiance. So I think that's one of the main things as we age, is the skin just doesn't have that same glow that it used to. So products that are really going to boost that natural glow and radiance to the skin. So yeah, we're just going to end up looking a lot more youthful, I think, after this. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of serum underneath my moisturizer. This one is by Revolution. I really like their skincare. I've used quite a lot of it actually, and it's not too expensive. So this is their Super Strength Formula Conditioning and Fine Line Serum. Now, I don't use the same thing every morning and every night. I adapt as I need to with my skin. So this isn't something that I would say use absolutely all of the time. Lots of serums do have retinol in, which is not advised to use every single time you do your skincare anyway. So just be careful, if I sort of say to use something, you don't necessarily have to use it every single time, but this is what I'm going to use at the moment. So it is an oil, but it just feels really nice on the skin. It doesn't feel too greasy. So that's like your treatment, really. A serum goes a lot deeper into the skin. So yeah, that feels really nice. It's really good when you first come out of the shower, actually, when your skin's feeling quite tight, to get that on straight away. So then moisturizer, I'm going to use Vitamin E Face Base by Bobbi Brown. And yeah, this smells absolutely beautiful. It smells like a chocolate orange. I don't think it's meant to, but yes, it's very orangey, very nice. So it's really good if you've got a drier skin. This has got shea butter in, and it just makes the skin feel very comfortable and hydrated. And it's a brilliant primer. It just works really well underneath makeup. So always taking it down the neck. So under the eyes, I'm going to use the Extra Repair Eye Cream by Bobbi Brown. I've been using this for a few years now, and I just haven't found a better eye cream than this at all. It's really, really thick cream, really rich. And if you have got a drier eye area, it's absolutely perfect for that, to really smooth out fine lines and wrinkles. As I'm doing makeup, I'm going to be just putting it under the eye area. If I was going to bed, I would be putting it on the eyelids as well to help smooth out creasy eyelids. Yeah, and just to keep them nice and firm. Right, so that's that. That's my skincare, that's my eye cream. Next step, I'm going to use today Trini. That's their BFF cream. This is great because it's got SPF 30 in it. That's one of the main things, is if we are concerned about aging, is to protect the skin. So I'm putting that on, just using my fingers for this. Don't need a brush. That smells lovely. It smells like a holiday. It smells a bit sun creamy. I don't know, just that really nice holiday smell. So this actually blurs out imperfections as well. So if you do have a little bit of redness in the skin, I find that it eradicates the redness really well. Sort of puts a bit of a blurring filter on the skin, I find. It's got a very slight tint to it. The one I was using was light to medium. Actually, no, it was light. She'll probably be going a little bit darker soon, hopefully, if we get any good weather. But yeah, that's really nice. It's just given a really lovely radiance to the skin. Now, sometimes that is an absolute, that is enough. You could just use that. I do have some blemishes at the moment, so I am going to use a little bit of foundation, but nothing too heavy at all. So the foundation that I'm going to use today is by a company called Studio 10, and their products are basically, designed for a more mature skin. You can use them on younger people. I certainly do. I use it on quite a lot of my brides. So I'm just putting a little bit on areas where I need it. So I do have redness on this side of my cheek. So I'm just going to use a little bit there. Again, I don't feel the need to use a brush for doing this, just sort of on the spot areas. I'm not going all over. I tend to use, obviously, all my brushes when I'm doing makeup on other people, but quite often when I'm doing my own, especially my base, I tend to just use my fingers. Okay, so just a little bit here. Just anywhere where you feel like you just want that little bit of coverage, but you don't need to put it all over. Yeah, I always start in the centre of the face more so, and then take it out. We don't really need that much coverage in these areas. So usually redness is more sort of central. I'm going to go just sort of around the nose area. Nose area is quite often red. I'm just patting it in, and then with the little bit that's left on my finger, I'm just patting that in as well. So I'm not getting a really heavy coverage everywhere. I've got a blemish under my nose there, so just putting a little bit extra, building that up, and just to try and cover that. A little bit on the chin. So as you can see, it probably looks like I am putting it everywhere, but not really. I'm just kind of putting it on slight areas where I think I need it, and then just blending it out everywhere else. So just sort of seeing where the extra little bits of redness are. And then I have got some little age spots there. Don't really like those, so I do tend to cover them. And I had a spot in the middle of my forehead, so we'll get rid of that. And I feel like my nose is just, can you see my nose just looks a tiny little bit red, so I'm just going to put a small amount there just to take that redness down. Now the good thing about this foundation is it just seems to stay on the skin really nice all day. I find that some foundations, it kind of starts to look a little bit dry towards the end of the day, but this brand, it does have skincare in the makeup, so it actually improves the look of the skin as you go on, so that's really good to me. I just feel like I don't have that really haggard look at the end of the day. It just seems to keep reviving it. So underneath the eyes, I'm going to use my NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer. And yeah, it's just a really nice light concealer, nothing too heavy, so it doesn't sort of make the wrinkles under the eyes stand out worse. So I'm going to use, this is actually a Bobbi Brown lip brush. It's just a really thin concealer brush, which is great for just sort of getting in, smaller areas. So going to go just where the darkness is. Can you see how I've got that control with the smaller brush? I'm not just putting loads underneath. That's when it starts to look too heavy and you've got too much makeup on. So I'm just going to pat that in with my ring finger, no dragging, going into the inner corner and patting that in. And then on the very thin tip of the brush, I'm getting right underneath the lash line. That's where we've all got the redness there, little red blood vessels. Again, patting that in. And you can see I've not gone wild and put it everywhere, just where we need it, just where we need the darkness. Can you see that's brightened up under the eye, and that one you can still see the dark circle. So go on the other side. And just pat that in. This colour is Custard. and just right underneath the lash line. And pat that in. With what you've got left on your fingers, which isn't really a lot, you can just do a bit of a general pat around there just to make sure there's no lines, so that it all just sort of blends in seamlessly. Okay, I would never put foundation up under the eyes. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that somebody with more mature skin can do, especially if it's a heavy foundation. They put it on, put it right up under the eyes, and then it's just far too heavy and it sticks in every line and looks like a mask, so don't do that. So I am going to set that concealer with a little bit of light translucent powder. This is by Laura Mercier. So I'm going to use my eye blender brush by Bobbi Brown. And just take a small amount, tap it off, not too heavy, and just dust that under the eye to set it, and then it shouldn't move and shouldn't sit in the creases then. Before I do the other side, I'm just going to gently press in the lines. If the concealer's sat in the lines, we can just gently press that away before you powder, and this powder should stop it going back in them, okay? Yep, so that's just to set that little bit of concealer. Not going to go heavy with powder all over. I may do a little bit on the T-zone at the end, but we're generally trying to keep this nice glow that we've achieved so far. And I'm just going to use a little bit now of Perfect Bronze Glow Plexion Studio 10. So this is a bronzing gel, and I'm going to use my Kitco brush with this. I bought quite a lot of stuff from my Kitco, so I got a free brush of it, and I'm not actually sure what it's supposed to do, what you're supposed to use it for, but I think it's absolutely amazing. I use it so much for applying gel or liquid formulas like liquid bronzer, liquid blusher, liquid highlighter, perfect for buffing and blending all of your base in at the end. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that high up on the temples where we would naturally catch the sun. So this is so that we're not all one colour, we just add a little bit more dimension to the face. And as this is a tutorial for mature skin, as I was saying, we quite often lose colour, so this is just giving that nice bronzy look to the skin so we don't look washed out. Putting a little bit under the cheekbone area, and then taking excess off the brush and just making sure that's nicely blended in. So I started under the cheekbone, but I'm taking it up a little bit. I don't like to see lines with my makeup, so I want it to be that you can't really see where certain things start and stop. So you're not going to see a stripe of bronzer, a stripe of highlighter. Everything's really sort of blended nicely, and that's what I really like about this brush. It just seems to make everything fuse together really nicely. You see how it's just given a bit more shape to the face, and I'm just going to use a little bit of that on the chin, not too much, don't need it at the minute, a little bit on the nose. Yep, so that's just given a nice bit of colour to the skin. So then I'm going to use, again by Studio 10, their Plumping Blush. So again, the bronzer and the blusher, it's all about improving the look of the skin, so your skin's looking better with makeup rather than makeup making it look worse, if you know what I mean. So I'm putting that high up on the apples of the cheeks when you smile, not too low because it drags the face down. We want to keep everything nice and high. And yeah, just go back in and use your fingers as well. Make sure it's pressed in. Can you see that nice glow that it gives? So it's giving you that nice pop of colour that we've not gone and put some heavy powder on it. Now I'm going to now use the liquid highlighter as well. So on the back of the hand again, still the same brush. And I'm going to pop a little bit of that on the top of the cheekbones there. To give that really nice glow on the sides. You can put a little bit on the Cupid's bow. See how that just kind of, I don't know, makes the lips stand out that little bit more, makes the Cupid's bow stand out, and yeah, just a little bit plumper. I'm going to put a little bit on the sides of the face there, like a temple, on the temples. If you think of it a little bit like a C shape coming round there, just so you get that nice sort of glow on the sides of the face. So yeah, that's that. Now, if you did want a little bit more of a colour on the cheek, which I feel like I do at the moment, I'm just going to use a little bit of the Studio 10 lipstick in Tea Rose, and I'm just going to pop a little bit extra on the cheeks. Not all over where I put the rest of the blusher, but just an extra little pop there. And then I'm going to use this lipstick on my lips. Yeah, it's a really nice colour actually. It's like a bit of a browny red. And it's a nice glossy finish as well. I think on an older lip, if it's got that nice glossy look to it, it's just going to make the lips look plumper and healthier. So it's quite a good natural colour, sort of a nudie look to it, and yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. I think you just have to judge it a little bit by how you know your skin is. I know my skin can look a little bit greasy, so I am going to use a little bit of that powder in the T-zone area, just so that it doesn't start to look too greasy, because I like a glow, but I don't want to look too oily. Can you see I'm just keeping the glow everywhere else, but the T-zone, I'm just putting that little bit of powder. And hairline can get a little bit oily as well, so I always dust a little bit into the hairline. Yeah. So I'm not going to do eye makeup today, but I'm just going to show you what we could put on the lids just to take any redness out of the eyelid. I'm going to use a little bit of the P. Louise base, and this is in shade number 2. And I'm just going to use my finger on the whole eyelid, like this, patting that in gently. And what that's going to do, if you've got any little, little veins or darkness, redness on the eyelid, it's going to make the eyelid look nice and bright. So this is an eyeshadow base, but you don't necessarily have to go on and put eyeshadow on. It's really good just on its own. Can you see how that eye looks just that lot more brighter than that side? You see, so that's your base up to your blusher and your lipstick. I'm going to do an eye tutorial next for mature eyes, hooded eyes. So yeah, this is your base, and if you were to put eyeshadow on, just put a little bit of powder on this eyelid, and then you're ready to go with your eye makeup. I hope that that's helped you, and yeah, if you've got any more questions about mature skin, about any other products that you'd like to know about, just let me know. Thank you for watching. Bye.